Why small Singapore outperforms superpowers. When people think about global powerhouses, they usually imagine massive countries, the United States, China, India, or Russia, nations with huge populations, vast land, and enormous natural resources. But there is one tiny country that constantly surprises the world. A city-state smaller than many global cities, with almost no natural resources, limited land, and a relatively small population. Yet it consistently ranks among the richest, most efficient, safest, and most future-ready places on Earth. That country is Singapore. Singapore is often called the world's smartest small nation, and for good reason. In just a few decades, it transformed itself from a struggling port city into a global financial hub, a technology center, a logistics giant, and one of the most business-friendly economies in the world. Its airport is ranked among the best. Its port is among the busiest. Its education system is world-class. Its governance model is studied globally. And its citizens enjoy one of the highest standards of living in Asia. What makes this story even more fascinating is that Singapore achieved all this without oil, without vast farmland, and without a large domestic market. While many superpowers struggle with bureaucracy, inefficiency, and political gridlock, Singapore often moves faster, plans smarter, and executes better. It focuses on long-term strategy instead of short-term politics. It invests heavily in people instead of depending on natural resources. And it treats governance like a performance system, not just a political process. In this video/article, we will break down exactly why small Singapore outperforms superpowers, what strategies it uses, and what other countries and even creators and entrepreneurs can learn from it. If you enjoy deep, fact-based global insights like this, make sure to subscribe and follow because we regularly break down powerful country success stories. Strategic location turned into global advantage. Singapore's geography is small, but its location is priceless. It sits at one of the world's most important shipping crossroads between the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. Instead of treating its small size as a weakness, Singapore turned its position into a strategic advantage. It built one of the most advanced ports in the world and became a global trade gateway. Today, a large percentage of global maritime trade passes through Singapore's port system. The country invested early in logistics efficiency, automation, and port technology, making it faster and more reliable than many larger competitors. Superpowers often rely on internal markets. Singapore relies on global connectivity and executes it with precision. Long-term planning instead of short-term politics. One major reason Singapore outperforms larger nations is long-term policy thinking. Many superpowers change direction every election cycle. Policies are reversed, delayed, or politicized. Singapore, however, is known for multi-decade planning. Urban design, housing, water security, transport networks, and economic strategy are planned 20 to 40 years ahead. Infrastructure is built before crisis happens, not after. For example, Singapore invested early in water recycling, desalination, and reservoir systems to avoid dependence on neighbors. It planned public housing at scale to prevent slums. It designed industrial clusters to attract high-value industries. This long-term mindset creates stability, and stability attracts global investors. Meritocracy and talent focus. Singapore built its system around meritocracy, rewarding skill, performance, and competence. From civil service to education to business leadership, performance standards are extremely high. Top government officials are highly qualified and competitively paid, which reduces corruption incentives and attracts capable leaders. While this model is debated, it has produced extremely efficient governance. Education is strongly performance-driven. Students are trained in math, science, technology, and problem-solving from early stages. Technical and vocational excellence is also respected, not just academic degrees. Instead of depending on population size, Singapore depends on human capital quality. World-class education and skills training. Singapore consistently ranks near the top in global student performance assessments. But beyond test scores, its education system is tightly linked to economic needs. Universities and polytechnics coordinate with industries. Skill programs are updated based on market demand. Continuous adult education and reskilling are heavily promoted. Superpowers often struggle with education industry mismatch. Singapore actively aligns them. This produces a workforce that is adaptable, technically strong, and globally competitive. Business-friendly regulatory environment. Singapore is regularly ranked among the easiest places in the world to start and run a business. Company registration is fast. Tax structures are clear. Legal enforcement is predictable. Global companies use Singapore as their Asian headquarters because regulations are stable and dispute resolution is efficient. While superpowers often have complex regulatory layers across states and agencies, Singapore maintains centralized clarity and speed. Speed in business decisions often beats size. Smart urban design and infrastructure. Singapore is one of the best examples of future-ready urban planning. Transport networks are integrated. Public transit is reliable. Smart traffic systems reduce congestion. Housing is planned at scale. More than 80% of residents live in well-planned public housing, but with quality standards that many countries can't match. Green spaces are integrated across the city. Flood control and climate adaptation are built into planning. Superpowers often struggle with aging infrastructure. Singapore constantly upgrades. Technology and innovation adoption. Singapore aggressively adopts new technology, AI, fintech, smart governance systems, automation, biotech, and green energy. Government services are highly digitized. Citizens can complete many official tasks online quickly. Innovation hubs and startup ecosystems are supported with funding and regulatory flexibility. Instead of fearing disruption, Singapore designs policy around it. Strong rule of law and safety. Safety is an economic asset. Singapore consistently ranks among the safest countries globally. Law enforcement is strict and predictable. Low crime increases investor confidence, tourism, and quality of life. Business leaders and global talent are more willing to relocate. Stability is productivity. Conclusion. Singapore proves that size is not destiny, strategy is. While superpowers rely on land, population, and natural resources, Singapore relies on planning, discipline, talent, and execution. It turned limitations into strengths, location into leverage, and governance into a performance system. From education and anti-corruption policies to smart infrastructure and business-friendly regulation, every major pillar of the country is designed with long-term thinking. That is why a small city-state can compete with, and often outperform, much larger nations. The biggest lesson from Singapore's success is simple but powerful: nations grow not just by what they have, but by how well they manage what they have. Efficiency beats size. Skills beat resources. Systems beat slogans. Whether you are a country, a company, or even a content creator, the Singapore model shows that focused strategy, constant upgrading, and disciplined execution can create world-class results even from very small beginnings.